Hello and welcome, my beautiful, vibrant souls, to this week's Astrocast looking at the week ahead. So this is going to be covering the week of March 28th through April 3rd, 2022. I had to think about those dates. And yeah, so welcome back to all my old friends and welcome to all my new friends. This is my little corner of the internets. So for those of you who are unfamiliar with astrocasting, I'm going to give you a real quick rundown. It could be a little refresher for those of you who have been here for a minute. But with astrocasting, as you see, we have this lovely circular board here with the 12 segments, 12 little slices. And these represent the 12 houses of the zodiac and their areas of natural rulership. So what I do is that for the week ahead, I reach into this lovely little pot full of teeny tiny tarot cards and apparently some cat fur, teeny tiny tarot cards, and I pick some at random and cast them on the board. I do it with my eyes shut because I like to be surprised with you. And then wherever the cards fall, we interpret the energy of the card in that area of life, again, of the natural rulership. Now, I do want to make a note that while this is talking about the areas of natural rulership and thus the more natural rulers of each house, this will play out for you differently based on your own personal astrology, as well as just where you are in your life journey. So if you are interested in an Astrocast reading for yourself, please feel free to DM me. My shop link is in the description box below. I don't currently offer them as like a standard fixture in my shop, but if I get enough requests or comments on these videos, I am more than happy to add them. So I think that's just about everything that I have to go over before we dive right on in. I'm going to take a quick sip of my coffee, though. Oh, God, I'm a human being. That's delightful. So, yeah, how are you guys doing? I hope you're having a wonderful week. I know the last couple weeks we've had sort of just some energies of like, I want to pick, this here and this here. We've had a lot of energies of just kind of, waiting, a lot of introspection, kind of just things needing to move forward. So I'm curious to see what comes out this week. I don't want to pick two more. I'm going to pick one. And then, sorry, I have my eyes closed, so it's really hard. Yeah, and then boom. Okay. Excuse me. Ooh, we got some good stuff today. So let's see what we have. Okay, in the 6th house, and so for those of you who are new here, I will explain. So you see how the Knight of Cups is coming out here, pretty much upright. What I consider to be upright in this situation is when it's upright facing inward, right? So he's, the card is upright in the house, right? Pointing with the bottom pointing toward the middle. When it's like this, where, it's sideways, this is something where I'll interpret the energy could go either way. And similarly, if it's predominantly reversed, I'll read the card reversed. So, let me flip what we have here, you guys. Okay, so it's like this, and then we have a lot that are kind of like in energies in flux this week. I came out completely sideways. Wow. Okay. I do want to mention that any or all of the messages may apply to you. Some of them may be interconnected. I will try to read that as much as possible if I see that. And some of them may be more interconnected for you than they would be for other people, again, just based on your own personal circumstances, both astrological and otherwise. So in the 6th house, we have the 9 of Swords, if I could pick it up. God damn it. All right, so you see, we have the 9 of Swords. Bordering the 8th and 9th house, we have this lovely King of Cups. This would be masculine water energy, so Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. In the 11th house, we have this excellent Knight of Cups and 8 of Swords combo. And in the 2nd house, we have the 2 of Wands. Okie dokie. So I feel like this week, sometimes the energies feel really interconnected. This week, I'm not feeling like they are so much. I do kind of feel like the 9 of Swords here and the 2 of Wands might kind of be interconnected. And then these two coming out together in the 11th house, I feel like are related to one another. But I really want to start with this King of Cups here. So this is going to be an especially strong message for my water signs, but it doesn't have to be exclusively for my water signs. So the King of Cups is somebody who's incredibly emotionally secure. very mature, very stable in his emotions. He's non-reactive. He's very loving, very nurturing. This is, the King and Queen of Cups are very much soulmate energies. So bordering the 8th and 9th house, I feel like you've been going through a lot of personal emotional transformation. You've been maturing at a very rapid rate is what I'm hearing. And you've been really processing and integrating a lot of spiritual lessons when it comes to your emotional body. The King and Queen are the most advanced, the most evolved, the most mature of all of the court cards. And with the cups being your emotional body as well as your intuition, I feel like you are this week, because he came out sideways between the two, I feel like you're in, again, this process of integration. So you might start noticing that you feel differently about some things. Maybe there are situations where in the past you would have felt a lot more reactive and triggered by it, but you're kind of not feeling that as much this week. This is sort of an in-between energy where you're really, you're seeing the bigger picture, right? The pieces are coming together for you, and this is giving you a lot of peace. This is giving you a more grounded emotional foundation, particularly if anything's been really stressing you out emotionally, because it's hard to see, but in the background of the King of Cups, the water around him is like raging, right? So this is a lot of like tumultuous emotions, things being really difficult, but he's very, very secure. He's very, very stable. And so this week, I feel like you're going to start to see a really big shift and a change because it's bordering those two houses, where you're going to notice how much you have changed your perspective. I will say the 8th house can talk about intimate mergers as well. And with the 9th house being very much like that higher spiritual perspective, you might be getting a different perspective on a relationship in your life. Heavy emphasis on Scorpio here, does not have to be, but you might just be getting like a different perspective altogether and seeing seeing something about this connection that you weren't able to see before. And relationship doesn't just have to be romantic, of course, but it's any relationship where you're very, very emotionally invested. You might be seeing a King of Cups with, kind of through a different lens with new, fresh eyes. But your perspective is in the process of shifting and changing, especially at an emotional level. And I feel like what used to bother you or plague you or threaten your peace of mind, what used to be self-destructive habits at an emotional level is turning more toward self-constructive habits. And this is because if you've been watching the Astrocast for the last few weeks, we've gotten a lot coming in on the 8th house that have to do with really working on yourself, right? A couple weeks ago, we had the 9 of Pentacles in the 8th house. Last week, I believe we had the 9 of Cups in the 8th house. There's been a lot here about personal transformation and getting into alignment with what it is that you want. And we see this actually too as well. Excuse my burp, with the 2 of Wands, and the 2 of Wands showed up last week as well. So there's this kind of continual theme. And with having a card in the 8th house and a card in the 2nd house, these are oppositional from each other. And the 2nd house is traditionally ruled by Taurus, the 8th house by Scorpio. There is this sort of common, shadow element, or I don't even like to think of it as shadowy. It's like this common quest, right, to negotiate the relationship that we have to control, both inwardly and internally and externally, but also emotionally, as well as in our external, like physical reality, right? And so I feel like you are gaining some level of emotional control over control over your emotional experiences that you have not had prior, right? You're finding your own peace of mind, your own balance, your own stability. And this transformation, I feel like, has been in the works for a while. I feel like you've been on this path for a very long time, but in the last month or so, you're starting to really see, take those steps forward, right? Really see the change in your own perspective, really see, it's like little mini epiphany after epiphany over the last few weeks, especially. So this is a really, really beautiful shift in the energy. I really, really like that. I do want to mention we have 2nd house and 6th house. These can be 2 career houses. And so I do feel like because both of these came out reversed. Now, last week we had the 2 of Wands coming out. I feel like it was in the 1st house. I can't remember 100%. So, yeah, feel free to go back and watch that one or leave it in the comments or something like that. But what we talked about last week with the 2 of Wands is that you're really making decisions for yourself, right? with the person on the Two of Wands, there's a little globe that he's holding in his right hand. And this is essentially indicative of the World card. You've finished a huge cycle. You have the whole world at your disposal. You have a lot of options. And I feel as if maybe with the kind of, we're talking about the relationship to security, excuse me, maybe you felt like you were kind of trapped before, like you didn't have a lot of choices, whether this is like trapped by your material circumstances or trapped by emotional, attachments or anchors or like wounds that were, patterns that were unhealed essentially. And so with the Two of Wands coming out reverse, or excuse me, sideways in the second house, I feel like this is that process continuing. You were still contemplating and planning what it is that you actually want and how to move forward with it. With the Nine of Swords showing up in the sixth house again, this is, the Nine of Swords upright is really like you're having those sleepless nights, you're worrying a lot, you're stressed out, you're really anxious about the situation. So I feel like these two are kind of connected in the sense that you're really deciding. The second house really talks about our relationship to security, right? In the story of the Wheel of the Zodiac, we have the first house, the house of the self. And the second house, we differentiate ourself from our main caregiver. And this is what creates that bond with security, right? This is why the second house can deal with your career, your finances, your physical house, anything that you give value to, as well as how you value yourself internally. And I feel like because there's been a lot of these personal transformations, you are valuing some aspect of your life in a different way or looking at it from a different perspective. And this might be really taking your power back and helping to ease anxiety, because I feel like there was something that was causing you stress in your daily life, right? The sixth house is the mind, body, spirit connection, but it's our daily routines. It's how we look after the details of our lives. It's how we think about things. It's kind of, it's predominantly, like I said, that mind, body, spirit connection. That's why it's really about health. It's also about service to others versus service to ourselves, right? Because the traditional rulership for the 6th and 12th house is Virgo and Pisces. And the shared shadow between the two can be a tendency to serve others at the expense of oneself. So I feel like there's something here where you've really been looking at your daily life. And especially, again, I feel like these are connected. Your daily life and what you feel is a secure way to live your life for you, right? So this could be, reevaluating your job, reevaluating maybe the hours that you work. It's like it's not necessarily having to be what you do, although that can be part of it, but it's how you do it, right? So there's something here where maybe you've had a very long-standing pattern that has been, like a subconscious pattern that you're very comfortable with, and you've kind of been coming to this realization in the last, month or so, where it's like, I don't know if this is good for me. I don't know if this is healthy for me. I don't know if this is truly serving my highest good. I will say I talked about this last week, but with the Two of Wands, do you guys see that? Yeah. With the Two of Wands, this guy, we have this wand that's bolted to the wall. He's got the globe in his right hand, and then he's got this wand in his left hand. And interestingly, we have lilies and roses, right? So this is, I know I'm like, some of you might be named Lily or might be named Rose, or people with those names could be involved in the situation. But those are actually the flowers that are on the Magician card as well. So there's a lot here about personal empowerment. But, the guy here, I always like to imagine if you could, it's kind of like paused. If you could press play on this scene, this moment, and you were telling him like, hey, pick a wand and go. I think it stands to reason that he would pick the wand that's in his left hand, right? Even though this one is bolted to the wall, so this is the more established, explored, secure, well-known path to you. You're intuitively feeling drawn to do something different. Intuitively, you already know what you want to do, and it's just about planning it or justifying your own power in going after what you want. And the thing that I feel like a lot of us are going to be going through with this energy is there's something here where there's this more secure path, and this has been our sense of security. And again, I feel like this is very connected to the 8th house transformations we've been seeing. And with this like shift in perspective that's coming in, this like higher perspective on our situation, I feel like we're feeling intuitively drawn to a new way of being. Again, we have the reference to the world. There's been some completion. There's been some leveling up. And And this week is really going to be a continuation of that process where you're really looking at like, okay, you know, what are my patterns that I've been perpetuating? What's my comfort zone? Is that really good for me? Is that growing me? And I do feel like there's a little bit of this anxiety still lingering about, you know, any trepidation with making these changes, but it kind of has this feeling now where it's like the anxiety is there, but it's minimal. It's like draining away, because where this seemed like this was something you were considering in the last couple weeks, I feel like you're more seriously, legitimately making plans this week. It's like you've seen something about yourself or your needs or something that's not working, and you can't look away from that anymore. And this is a week where I feel like you're going to be taking a more honest look at it. And even though that can be stressful and anxiety inducing, I do feel like that's ultimately going to, it's ultimately a really empowering process, and it eases that stress. Now we have this awesome, I feel like this could be connected, but it certainly doesn't have to be to the other energies. But we have this Knight of Cups and Eight of Swords in the 11th house. So the Knight of Cups is masculine water energy, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. Does not have to be. But this is really cool because the Eight of Swords is you know, one of the few cards in the tarot where the person's blindfolded, right? So there's something here where I feel like, you know, normally the Eight of Swords is the ways that we keep ourselves limited, and we keep ourselves stuck, right? And it's like usually the fears that we have that keep us from moving forward in the direction that we want. With this being in the 11th house, this could be something that you want to produce online. This could be, for some of you, you want to meet up with an online friend. You like have the opportunity to go travel, or they have the opportunity to travel to you, and you want to like meet up with them. Some of you may have, you know, met someone in a romantic context online, or you're in an LDR and you want like the opportunity to go meet up with each other. Excuse me, because the Knights are always about travel. And I like that the Knight of Cups is offering this cup to this person. I feel like there's going to be an unexpected offer for you coming in this week. And some of you, I'm hearing like you can feel the rumbles. Some of you can like feel this coming intuitively. But it's like, or, you know, this is something where it's like, I feel like this offer is coming forth, but there's something here where it's just like, I don't know how we would ever, you know, make this work. I don't know how it kind of is like, I don't know practically how this would happen, but I feel like this is where, you know, what I'm being called to do, or I need to go see this person, or I should be with this person, or, you know, I want to really pursue this project. And what Spirit's letting you know is don't worry about the details. They're taking care of it. I feel like a way is being open for you this week. And for some of you, I will say this is going to be a conversation. So like, let's say, you know, the 11th house is about, like I said, you know, our online communities. It's also our spiritual community. I always look at it like your soul tribe, your soul family. It's the people with whom you do your spiritual work. And this is also about a wish come true, right? So I kind of feel like, as well as an expansion process, I kind of feel like for a lot of you, there's something that you've really, really been wanting. And it, again, it's like you're aware of it, you're thinking about it, but over the next week, it's going to be like this offer is being brought forth to you. And this might be, for many of you, I feel like this will be an opening conversation. So it might not be like, you know, it depends on where you are, you know, on your own personal situation. If you've been planning something for a while and you're waiting for it to come to fruition, if you've been working toward it, that might be happening this week. For some of you, if you've really just been in this contemplation where you're like, yeah, I really want this situation to work out, I really want, you know, XYZ, this may be that somebody's coming forward with an offer. This could be a friend, like I said, or somebody who's part of your spiritual community, your spiritual tribe. This is like somebody's coming forward with, you know, wanting to open a conversation about it. So like, let's say, I don't know, let's say you're thinking about, you know, you want to start a content channel with a friend about a shared passion, or, you know, a topic that you both are really invested in, right? So maybe you guys have kicked around ideas before, but it's kind of like, oh, I don't know how I make that work, right? This person might be coming forward this week to have a conversation with you and start to kind of like get the wheels turning on this. So it might not be like coming into fruition this week, but somebody is coming forward with an offer, a piece of information, and I for some of you, you're not going to see this coming at all. For some of you, I feel like this will be like a shock. It's like, oh my God, I've been thinking about this exact thing, but I didn't know how I was going to do it. This is a gift straight up from Spirit for you. But whatever this is something that you've been wanting. I feel like for many of you, you're going to recognize it when it comes around. This isn't one of those things of like, oh, you know, keep an eye out for offers this week because it might lead you to the thing you want. I feel like this is going to be very direct for a lot of you. But this is like, you are something that you didn't think was going to be able to happen, right? It's like it would take a miracle for this to come forward. This is happening this week. For some of you, if you've been waiting for, because the Knight of Cups is kind of a proposal or a romantic offer, if you've been waiting for a romantic offer, maybe somebody that you're friends with, and you want to be more than friends. This could be somebody who's an Aquarius or with heavy Aquarius placements. This kind of has this energy of like, I don't know how we would move forward. I don't know how we would make this work. It feels like for you, I feel like this feels like there's your hands are tied. You have nowhere to go. You're kind of just like, okay, I've got to wait. There may have been divine timing involved in this. Boom, the timing is now, baby. Like, this person is coming forward with an offer. Now, I will say, out of all the Knights, you know, the Knight of Cups is pretty consistent, but not like as consistent and stable as the Knight of Pentacles. So this might not start out as the most like, you know, like well thought out, or like, you know, it's not like this person's going to come forward with like an incredibly planned out offer gift wrap, but they're going to want to open up the energy to this. They're going to want to open up the conversation. Any emotions they express will be very heartfelt, right? And it's going to want to, it's going to help, yeah, really like open up the conversation. I kind of want to pull one more tarot about it because I feel like there's something else here. Okay, it's this one. I want to pull it upright. Yeah, the Page of Pentacles, exactly. So for some of you, this is starting a new business with a friend, or with a spiritual partner, like you know, somebody you're meant to collaborate with at a spiritual level and do spiritual work with. Excuse me. For some of you, it was a timing issue because Pentacles to me is always the springtime. So at the time I'm filming this in the Northern Hemisphere, we just hit springtime. So for some of you, that's what the divine timing was. It was just a matter of timing. And with the mountain in the background, this person had, you or this person or both had kind of an obstacle to overcome first. But like I said, I feel like this person, they're bringing forward an offer. They're really wanting to work with you on something. They want to start something or start fresh with you. And it's going to be a small, modest offer, but it's very, very genuine. So anything they express, any feelings they express, I feel like also too, any compliments they give you are very, very genuine, because I feel like you might be a little bit cautious around this person or situation just because it seemed like it was never going to happen, or there was no way to get from point A to point B. Spirit is making a way, right? And again, I do feel like it will be very obvious for a lot of you, but it might kind of, it's going to start small and then it grows from there. It's interesting, we're talking about the Knight of Pentacles since we have the Page, and then the Page will then become the Knight of Pentacles. So there is movement forward. Things are blossoming this week. There's still, you know, a little bit of this transformative energy that's taking place. But I feel like, especially too, for a lot of you, if you've been going through this transformation, really thinking about your life and what it is that would be best like suited for you, this is really, really paying off. This is allowing your manifestations to come in because you're really getting very clear on what you want and what is in your highest good. So this is a beautiful week ahead. I am super duper excited for everybody. I think that's all I have for you folks. I hope this has been helpful. If you're looking for an Astrocast for yourself for the week, month, you know, 6 months ahead, what have you, please feel free to DM me. But with that, I am going to let y'all go and enjoy your day. I'm wishing you guys the best, brightest, and the most beautiful things that life has to offer. Take care, love bugs. Bye.